The Premier League transfer window ends on Monday, which means it's the final couple of days for Premier League teams to be getting in their players for the 25-26 Premier League season. So today I'm going to be doing part 2 of my other video and name one transfer for every Premier League team before the window closes. If you haven't watched the first video, go check that out before this one. This video is the teams that finished in the top half of the table last season. So let's get into it. This is the Market Watch. Firstly, we have Brentford, and I think it's pretty clear that they need a left back. Their only current left back options are Rico Henry, who just came off of a pretty big injury. He's played very little, and Keane Lewis-Potter. So obviously Keane Lewis-Potter is a natural left winger. Last season he played mostly at left back, but that wasn't necessarily by choice. Rico Henry was out for around 18 months and only has played 502 Premier League minutes in the past 2 seasons. So I think it's pretty clear that Brentford need a left back. Leif Davis was one of the few Premier League quality players Ipswich had last season. Ipswich have proven that they're also willing to cash in on their players. Omari Hutchinson went to Forest. Ipswich will want to get a pretty good fee for this one, but I think Brentford, with the money they've made from a couple of their sales, Yoane Wissa probably leaving in the final days, that they could easily get this one done, even if Ipswich demand around 30 to 35 million. It's important to remember that Leif Davis put up very good assist numbers in the championship. He was putting up over 10 per season for the past 2 before the Premier League. Last season, he wasn't necessarily the greatest in the Premier League, but he could benefit pretty greatly by playing in a more attacking system such as Brentford. They love to score goals. Leif Davis loves to get on the end of assists. So I think Brentford definitely need a left back, and I like Davis a lot. Next up, I have Bournemouth. Obviously, it's clear that they lost a lot of their defensive line last season. They lost Howson, Zabarny, Kirkez. They even lost their keeper, Kepa, which means Bournemouth have a lot of money to spend. They even got money for Ouattara, quite a bit of it. They have like 150 million to spend in the bank, which is crazy. It's looking like they definitely need more defensive help still. They've only brought in one starting center back, not 2. They brought in Diakite, but need another one. Senesi can definitely be improved upon. You know, he's good for rotation, but I don't think he's starting quality, at least not to push up the table at least. Ordonez has attracted lots of attention from many top teams. I've seen him linked to Chelsea, to Tottenham, Liverpool, Inter, Marseille. There's a lot of people very interested in Ordonez, and it would be great on Bournemouth if they were able to snatch him up. He plays in the Belgian Pro League, so he'd definitely be open to a move to the Premier League to a team like Bournemouth. They definitely have money to convince. You know, if Club Brugge wants to demand more money than usual, Bournemouth have the extra bit to pay. They can even pay higher wages. Bournemouth are also seen as kind of the stepping stone for defensive talent now after, you know, Zabarny went to PSG, Kirkez, Liverpool, Howson, Real Madrid. I think a lot of young defensive talent will want to go to Bournemouth to kind of prove that they are very skilled and then get a big move maybe in a year or 2. And I think Ordonez would definitely be open to that. Ecuadorian talent is also, you know, really high in stock, especially defensive talent. Hincapié, Caicedo, Estupiñán, Pacho, a lot of them are at big clubs, worth quite a bit. A lot of them from Independiente, all of them except Estupiñán. Ordonez was from Independiente, so they're very much to be trusted with young defensive Ecuadorian talent. The only issue here is that Ordonez is a right-sided center back, and so is Diakite, who they already signed. But this shouldn't be an issue because Diakite played left center back in the Cup, has experience playing left back, so Diakite could easily play on the left, Ordonez on the right, and that could be Bournemouth's new power defensive duo. For Brighton, I've put up Hector Fort. It looks like he's leaving Barcelona. Brighton are really incredible at developing young talent. We've seen this. They buy for super cheap and sell for super high. They love to make profit on young talent. Barcelona is not generally the club they look at for young talent, but Fort seems to be available on the market. Barcelona also sell their young talent at pretty good prices. They're not like upcharging crazy amount of money like Gu, Pau Victor, Pablo Torre. Lots of them going for cheap, not a lot of money. This is a no-brainer for Brighton in my opinion. Fort obviously has a lot of potential, possibility of selling really high in the future. Obviously he came through La Masia, and a lot of La Masia talent is to be trusted. He was even starting a couple of games for Barcelona last season. Brighton are also very low on right back depth, which I think means Brighton is the best fit. Lamptey is currently injured. Veltman's been sitting on the bench. He's kind of coming off of an injury, still getting warmed up to things. Wiefer, who's a more natural DM, has actually been the one to be playing in the right back spot. So if Fort comes in, he could rotate with Veltman, play right back, and Wiefer could return to his DM spot. I think Fort is a fantastic market opportunity for Brighton. He completely fits the recruitment strategy, and they should be able to convince him to come to them over other Premier League clubs like West Ham, who I've seen linked to him. This is a big one. This is for Nottingham Forest, and I'm going to suggest Kobbie Mainoo. Obviously, very bad times for Man United. Even for Mainoo, though, I think. He sat bench for both of Man United's Premier League games this season. He started in the Cup against Grimsby Town, but obviously they lost that game, so not so great on Mainoo. He's just simply too good to be sitting on the bench for a young talent. He will want to be playing consistent Premier League football ahead of the 2026 World Cup because he'll want to be included in the squad. United have proven to like making academy profit as well. I think they would sell. It's looking like they'd be willing to sell for around 45 million, which is below market value, which means, it would be a great deal for Forest to do. For the fit at Forest, they play European football next season in the Europa League, of which United do not. Forest are very busy in the market. They're still signing players. They like to sign a smart, young talent. Mainoo fits that profile. The DM spot as well at Forest is one which Mainoo could fit into. Anderson and Sangare have been the ones to start both Premier League games, but it looks like Sangare could be leaving. Dominguez is currently injured, and Yates isn't starting Premier League quality. He's mostly rotation. Mainoo could come in next to Elliot Anderson and really make a push for that 2026 World Cup squad with Anderson next to him. I think a Mainoo-Anderson pivot could really push far in the Premier League or even in the Europa League. Like, this would be dangerous. I think for Mainoo, there's a starting spot there, there's play time, and it's still a top-level team. They finished much higher than United last season. I really see this as a great home for Mainoo, better than Chelsea or abroad in Spain, etc. Up next to Aston Villa. This is a kind of rogue shout by me. Villa have been limited very heavily this window due to financial fair play, so I'm going to be suggesting a smart signing over a big name one. Dario Osorio is only worth 8 million via Transfermarkt. He's 21 years old, right winger, and he plays in the Danish league. Villa are still lacking offensive depth. After losing Asensio and Rashford on loan, they weren't able to re-sign either of them. For the right wing spot, it's been McGinn playing there. Malen has been the rotational option, but they could easily use a young talent to fit in and rotate even more with Villa, considering they will be playing European football. Osorio could be a very smart, cheap pickup. In the past, he's been linked to Liverpool and Man United, so this is a guy whose stock is very high, but not many people know about him. In a year's time, this could be a talent worth lots of money, over 20, 30 million, and most of the Premier League will be in for him. So I think for Villa to go out and get him now, it would be really, really smart. He's also started the season really well. He's gotten 6 GA in less than 500 minutes at the start of this season. He's also been starting the past couple of games for the Chilean national team and could easily provide very good, cheap depth for Aston Villa. To Newcastle, this is a tricky situation for me because about 2 hours ago, it got revealed that Nick Voltemata is going to Newcastle. So last night, this was Jorgen Strand-Larsen in this spot, but he'd be the starting center forward. And now that they have Voltemata, that's not going to happen. Wissa is obviously very heavily linked to Newcastle. This one will probably happen. There's been lots of concrete interest. The talks have kind of stalled, but it seems in the past few days they've got revitalized. The window closes on Monday. They're going to need to get this done. He also hasn't been playing for Brentford. He really wants the move. They could get him for a reasonable fee. Newcastle still want another striker because Isak is going to leave and Wilson left as well, which were Newcastle's two strikers last season. So Wissa could come in behind Voltemata and they could rotate. Strand-Larsen is probably too expensive as a backup. He'd want to be starting. Wissa could easily be a rotational option. Wissa also has played a lot in his career on the left-hand side, and he could easily do that for Newcastle. Obviously, Anthony Gordon was suspended, has been a lot in the past. Wissa could fill in there. Last season, he scored 19 non-penalty Premier League goals, which is really good. He's incredibly in form, very underrated, and seems viable for a reasonable fee. I think this is a tap-in for Newcastle. They should definitely do it. This is a tap-in. For Chelsea, Enzo Maresca has made it very clear he wants another center back after Levi Colwill tore his ACL. I could easily suggest a big name center back here, but I don't think that's necessary. I'm going to be putting forward Jeremy Jacquet, who's a young 20-year-old French center back who currently plays for Rennes. He very much fits the Blue Co recruitment structure. He provides a lot of defensive help without costing too much or needing to start every game. This is a guy who, if they don't get him next summer, is going to be worth 50, 60. He's going to be going for a lot of money, and a lot of big teams are wanting him. This guy has the potential to be one of the best center backs in the world in the future. I know this because I'm an Arsenal fan and they've been heavily linked to him, but aren't seeming to go for him this window. I think Chelsea should go for him this window. I don't think they need a lights out starting center back. They already have so much center back rotation where they don't need a starting one, but just more rotation. I think Jacquet could easily come into Chelsea without a Strasbourg loan and really make an impact and even earn that spot without Chelsea having to pay a crazy high fee. I think this is a very smart deal rather than one which they just throw a bunch of money at a big name defender. I was thinking about Castello Luqueba, but I think Jacquet is a smarter signing. Man City is also a very interesting one because it doesn't seem like they really need a player. Obviously, Donnarumma is likely to go to City, but that's a boring pick. That's probably going to happen. I want it to be a little different. Now, this right wing spot is very dependent on if Savinho leaves. Man City are kind of insisting that they want Savinho to stay, but if Tottenham really throw money, splash cash, make a good offer, he could still go. I'm going to be putting forward a suggestion in the case he does go. So I'm going to suggest Magnus Akliouche. Akliouche just got included in the most recent French national team squad over players like Mateta. He's still very young, very promising, and he plays for a team like Monaco. And to stay in the French squad, he'll want to upgrade to a bigger team. I think he'd fit very well in Pep's 4-1-4-1 formation as the wide right winger, kind of what Savinho plays now. He puts up very good assist numbers. He very much plays like how a Pep winger wants to play. Be more support rather than a big goal scorer. If you look at Akliouche's stats, he's putting up 2-digit assist numbers the past couple of seasons, but not in terms of goals. So he's very much an assister, a feeder. He's not really a goal scorer, and that's how Pep does like his wingers, like Doku and Savinho. They're not goal scorers, they're assisters. So Akliouche kind of perfectly fits in Man City's system. It's crazy how good of a fit this is, and I've seen very minimal links to him to City. I think they should really be over this one, and losing Savinho isn't the worst in the world, and if they could go get Akliouche on deadline day or get a deal done really quick, I think it would be really smart. In terms of Arsenal, I think they should go for Rodrigo. They very much still need a lights out starting left winger. Eze, they just brought in, but he's more of a 10 and can play on the left. He'll probably be playing more in midfield or in a 4-2-3-1 as the 10. On the left, Arsenal still only have Martinelli and Trossard, and now with Saka out for a little while, Madueke will be playing on the right and not the left. Rodrigo does want to play left wing, but at Madrid, obviously the spot is occupied by Vinicius Jr., arguably the best left winger in the world, and he doesn't just have this starting spot. He's been sitting bench quite a bit under Xabi Alonso and probably should leave. I mean, he was even visibly frustrated after getting subbed off against Real Oviedo on the weekend. For his own career, he should leave, and the best destination is a move to the Premier League. Arsenal will get that X factor in attack that Rodrigo gives. He puts up very good GA numbers, so very good for goal involvements. Arsenal will want to be scoring a little bit more in the Prem than they did last season. I will say though, this deal will be hard to do. This will probably have to be a loan with an obligation to buy, and it would be difficult to do with his pretty high wages. It very much depends on Arsenal and their ability to sell players like Zinchenko, Lokonga, Vieira before the end of the window. This one could very easily be on deadline day, but with a loan with an obligation, it's a super smart move. Obviously, Arsenal have made him one of their major targets this summer. Speculation, though, has kind of gone quiet, but Berta is capable of making anything happen, and if he really is in for Rodrigo, he won't want it to be known because other clubs will want to go for him. So this deal very much could happen out of nowhere, like Mesut Ozil to Real Madrid to Arsenal on deadline day. Rodrigo could very much be the exact same. Finally, this is kind of a boring pick for the final team of the video, Liverpool, but Mark Guéhi very much should be going to Liverpool, and I'm suggesting it because it's just such an obvious choice, but it's a really good choice as well. Liverpool obviously need defensive help. They've held 2 goals in both of their Prem games so far this season. Not great. They need a center back. Leone is currently unproven. Gomez is coming off of an injury, and Konate seemingly wants to leave on a free next summer. He hasn't re-signed a deal. So bringing in another center back like Guéhi would be fantastic. If Konate does leave next summer, he can be in that right center back slot next to the best in the league, Virgil van Dijk. Guéhi obviously seems to want the move. This one is probably going to happen, although it's pushing pretty far in the window. Also, the fee seems to be really good. I've seen reports of 35 to 40 million, which is really, really good for a guy who could easily go for like 60 to 70 to even like 80. Obviously, Guéhi's the current Crystal Palace captain, and even he's one of the first names on the England team sheet. He could easily become the Liverpool captain after Virgil leaves. Really good for Guéhi. He's only 25 years old. He's not as old as a lot of people think he is. He would have a lot of time at Liverpool if he went there as a center back. Rather than splashing cash on Isak, Liverpool should be looking to strengthen defensive areas. Maybe even another 6, but definitely a center back. Let me know what your suggestions are in the comment below. Who do you want your club to sign? Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, join the royal family. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the video.